Hey, so welcome to today's video. Today's video is one where I'm going to be talking to a projector, all about what it's like to be a projector. And the one I have invited onto my screen is the lovely Paula Fairman. Paula's also a human design coach, and she's got the most wonderful Instagram, which I will link you into as well in the blog. So let's get Paula talking. Let's hear all about her. So Paula, in human design, you're a projector, right? So I want to find out from you a bit about what that's like. So tell me, how long have you been in your experiments and known you're a projector?
That's a really good question. I found out that I was a projector before I started my experiment. Um, because when I first found out about human design, I'm kind of like a sucker for any kind of system that tells me more about myself. Because as you might know, you might not know for the listeners, projectors really easily see into others, but sometimes can be a bit tricky to see yourself. So hence, I love all the Enneagram, 16 personalities, human design. When I found human design, I think I stumbled across it on Instagram a while ago, maybe like around 2020, I'd say. I looked up my design, found out that I'm a projector, resonated with it heavily, but kind of just left it there because I hadn't understood that it's not just a system, but it's actually something that you're meant to experiment with. So I kind of just read all the little posts about what it's like being a projector and just left it there. And then I really started with my experiment when I found our mentor, Emma Dunwoody. And that must have been around beginning of this year, maybe end of last year. That's when I dove in. So roughly, I'd say I've been in my experiment for about a year. And to answer your question, what was it like when I found out that I was a projector? I felt deeply seen, because I know we all say that we somewhat feel different to the rest of the world, and we probably all do. But figuring out that I was a projector and that my energy worked different to others, felt like coming home because I I was a projector trying to live like a generator. I worked a lot, I studied a lot, I always tried to be the best in everything, especially coming out of university and school. And I'd already been at the point of burnout, not diagnosed, but pretty safely felt burnout twice. So I already very early in my life realized, oh, this is what you're supposed to do in this world, but I don't think I can do it. Shit, what do I do about this? So when I then found out that I'm a projector and my energy works a bit slower but more efficient, I felt relieved, because I saw that there was another way for me and that nothing was wrong with me, that maybe even I was special in the way that everybody is special, but now I had it on paper and I could confirm, oh yeah, I do see easily into people. That's not something I've made up. That is actually a strength. Oh yeah, I do like guiding others. That's not me being bossy or me being a know-it-all. No, it's like part of my design. That was a long answer to a short question,
Wonderful.
but I wanted to give you that little bit of context. Thank you for letting
Mm,
me speak.
yeah, fabulous. So that's what you're here for, Paula. You're
Mhm.
here to speak. Yeah, it's so important, isn't it, for a projector to be seen and to be recognized. And I guess that's seeing and recognizing yourself as well in that. Super important first step. So I love that you've felt that. It's certainly something I've seen in the projectors around me as well, once they become aware. Yeah.
Mhm. There was just a little story about being seen. Someone from our mastermind group messaged me, so that's a study group we're in, messaged me the other week and said, "You have an open invitation to share your wisdom with me." And that was the first open invitation I had gotten phrased like this.
Mm.
And it felt so good. I was like, whoa, I didn't expect this to feel so good, but it feels so amazing when someone around you says, you know what, I think you're really valuable and you invited to share your thoughts with me whenever, wherever. And I was like, wow, that's cool.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So, and for anybody who doesn't know, the one of the really key things about being a projector is to wait for an invitation. And so often we're taught to go get stuck in there, go get what you want. And we also want to share advice, right? We want to be like, oh, hey, I can fix your thing. I've got all the wisdom. And for a projector, that is completely the wrong way for them to go about using their energy. So, really important for a projector to wait for that invitation. Once they've got that invitation, once they've been seen and recognized, then their wisdom is just gold. It's absolutely gold. Yeah, again, I can see that in my husband. He's a projector, and for him, just knowing that he gets to sit back and yeah, it's almost that I get to relax and wait, right, and then bring the wisdom. And I love going calling on him for that wisdom, and you, Paula, as well. Paula, you have an open invitation to share your wisdom with me anytime. Can I just say, you're so wise. I love that about projectors.
Mm.
Okay, so that's what I love about projectors. But Paula, what do you love about being a projector? How's it serving you now that you know about it and you're leaning in? What do you love
Mm.
about it?
Yeah, I mean, since I work with people and as a life coach, now a human design informed life coach, it's really a gift that is incredibly helpful when working one on one with someone else because my clients will pour their heart out, and usually I will easily be able to see what is the problem, and I will also have a handful ideas for the solution. Obviously, I don't just force my solutions on my clients, but I will be able to guide them into that direction. And that feels so valuable to me, so valuable. It gets a little bit tricky when a client, when you feel like you see so obviously what's going on, but the other person um, has got no idea and might not want to go into that direction, for example, with shadow work or with deeper wounds or going back into past experiences or maybe even trauma. You can meet a lot of resistance. But it's interesting, this dynamic, because with a client, you obviously do have this invitation. So I get to play around with pushing my clients towards what is good for them, and being able to lean into maybe even those more painful parts of their past to be able to move into a different kind of future. And I also love I love the resting part. I love that I have a permission slip to do less and achieve more. That feels incredibly generous to me. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I've won the lottery. This is so cool. Especially because I'm 27 now, the first, let's say, maybe 3 years of my life, pushing and pushing and pushing and doing and doing and doing. So it felt really good to understand that I actually do something that is good for me if I do less. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really powerful, isn't it? And again, we're just conditioned, aren't we? We're most of us conditioned to work hard, and it's lazy to not be working hard. And for generators, right, that's great. We do work that lights us up, and we can work hard all day. We've got that sacred power bank. And for projectors, there just isn't that bank, is there? But if you're taught to be a generator type, but you're not, really exhausting. So yeah, I love it when you can lean back and go, no, this is not for me. I need the rest. That's correct for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. And it's, you know what? I've grown up with two generators as my parents. One generator brother, one projector brother. And there is this subtle energy in, or has been growing up, there has been this subtle energy of you're not enough because you can't push like we can. Like, without ever saying that, and bless my parents, they've done a great job, but there is, without having this knowledge about how we're different, I understand that they would have looked at me and thought, what's wrong with her? Why does she not have as many interests as we do? Why does she not want to go pursue all these things? Why does she want to, um, I don't know, hang out in her bed and read books? What is wrong? And being on the receiving end of that is obviously painful. But having this knowledge now helps me to be super compassionate with them and me. Because, well, you just expect everybody around you to be kind of like you, more or less. The general functions, the general human mechanics, right?
Oh, I mean, for sure. And I discovered last year, maybe, how long have I been in my experiment? 18 months. I discovered that my son's a projector, with no energy centers at all. And bless him, for the first 15 years of his life, I've been trying to drag him around. Come on, we're going to go do stuff. That's what we need to do. We need to be doing stuff. And he just wasn't up for it. And I'm dragging him. And it's really amazing that I can now go, okay. Yeah. But in all of that time, Paula, what I can say is he has seen and he has been wise. He has always known what's what. He's always had that. And yeah, I wish I'd learned that sooner for him. But we learn when we learn, right? And yeah, amazing to have that awareness of how we're different, how we can get the most out of each other. So one last question. Well, it might not be. We might have more, but let's go with one last question for now, which is, are there any challenges for you in being a projector?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, since I've got what we call a cross of limitation in human design, so my the what I'm speaking about is the incarnation cross. That's kind of related to our overall life's purpose, and as you hear the limitation in there, the challenge. You ask about challenge, and I'm thinking, yeah, there's challenge everywhere, but it's also an opportunity. And I think one of the biggest challenges in the beginning was this invitation piece, because my self-worth was relatively low, and I just felt so unseen and unheard by the people around me. I felt like I was, especially in my family, I had been saying things for years that just did not drop in because there was no invitation. And then somebody else walks along and says these things, and suddenly everybody is like, oh, yeah, of course. And that felt incredibly frustrating to me. And I had just created so many stories around why no one listened to me, or why I'm not important, or why I don't matter, so to say. So I guess building the self-worth first after years of conditioning myself to believe that I'm not really worthy, that was tricky. And then also it was tricky to wait for the invitation when I just felt like I've got something to say, and if you listened, we would both see that I'm worthy. Of course, that's not how it works, but that was the dynamic in the beginning. And what else is there that I find challenging? Well, it can be challenging depending on the chart. Every projector has probably more open centers than, let's say, I mean, I can't really make this generalization, but in my personal chart, I have a lot of open centers. I just have two defined centers, and then the rest is undefined. So just in case people don't know what that means, the defined centers is where I generate my own energy, and the undefined centers is where I absorb energy of others and amplify it and reflect it back. And especially in the beginning, I really identified with that energy that I absorbed from the others. And I felt like I couldn't get rid of it, even though I really wanted to. And that is something that I just recently mastered. Um, and it just takes some time. It takes some time setting the intention to realize it's not yours and then letting it go. And in the beginning, this intention was just, I was like, it doesn't work like that. If I say it's not mine, I'm feeling it, it's uncomfortable, I want to get rid of it. But yeah, I've figured it out now, but that was certainly challenging.
Mm, yeah, I can resonate. I shouldn't be able to. As a generator, I don't have many centers defined either. So yeah, lots of energy taken in. Yeah, I think what I'll do, Paula, on some more of these videos is share more about centers, more about crosses, just more. So any questions that anybody's got while you're watching, just put them in the comments and I'll come back to, because there's so many different parts and it's a little bit hard to talk about it without talking about all the parts, isn't it? But
Mhm.
anyway, this is still like such a useful topic, even just talking about type, isn't it? So even if we just find out type, then we can, yeah, learn so much. So Paula, before we wrap up then, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I like to wrap up the kind of conversations with 3 tips for people who maybe have found out that they are a projector, and what I think could be potentially important for them to look at. Um, just to kind of sum it up and give a nice giveaway or takeaway. Um, and I think the first and most important thing is work on your self-worth. Whatever it is that you got to do, if it's reciting affirmations, if it's standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself that you're worthy and you're beautiful, if it's hypnosis, or I don't know, whatever makes you feel worthy, cooking yourself amazing meals and dressing like you're super worthy, whatever it is, lean into it and lean into it heavily. Um, so much that you think it's too much. And my second tip or recommendation is to find somebody who sees you, whether that be another projector or a generator who listens really amazingly, or just a friend, any type really, but find someone who sees you and who likes giving you that time to be seen as well, because you're probably walking around in the world spending a lot of time seeing others, and if you're not I don't want to say careful, but if you're not actively focusing on getting that back, you might end up just not getting it. And it's this is also a really important part of feeling worthy in yourself, of having that relationship where you're seen as well. And then the last tip I give is develop some sort of routine in which you're connecting with yourself and in which you're clearing out the energy of others. And whether you want to sage, whether you want to meditate, whether you want to shower with the intention of letting go what you've held on to, whether you want to somatically scream or move or shake or dance, that's up to you. But that's something that I found really, really helpful in the process.
Thank you so much, Paula.
Yes, sir.
I got my dog's about to start barking, so it's really great timing. Really great timing. Thank you so much for being here today. You might be back, who knows, as we talk about other things.
I'd love to.
But thank you. You have an open invitation, Paula. You're here anytime.
Thank you so
Thank you, my
much.
love. Okay, I will see you soon.